When Sean Penn was writing Into the Wild, the haunting true story of Christopher McCandless, a young man who abandoned his middle-class life and disappeared into a 2-year adventure that ended in the Alaskan wilderness, he had one actor in the front of his mind, Emile Hirsch. Penn wanted Emile, obviously because he's talented, but also for his heart, something that stood out to him when he saw him in this.
You may be the best skater in the world someday. The fact is, I think you are the greatest.
Lords of Dogtown, about the rise of the original 70s skate punk scene. And even though Emile was just 20 when Lords came out, he had already been acting for a decade. He was on ER, Third Rock from the Sun, and the movie The Girl Next Door.
Dude, I know.
He starred in Speed Racer, a big budget spectacle that fizzled at the box office, but it was Into the Wild that really made people take notice. To play McCandless, who died of apparent starvation, Emile dropped more than 40 pounds, and inspired by McCandless, he volunteered with Oxfam, hiking up to Kilimanjaro to raise awareness about clean drinking water, and traveling to Zimbabwe and the DRC. He's kept it real on screen too, playing gay rights activist Cleve Jones, opposite Penn in Milk, Gus Van Sant's award-winning bio about the pioneering gay politician Harvey Milk.
You really think you'll win?
Winning's not my strong suit.
Now Emile's teamed up with another great director, The French Connection and The Exorcist, William Friedkin, in a controversial new thriller called Killer Joe.
This is gonna get done, one way or another.
Everybody, please welcome to the program, Emile Hirsch. Nice to see you, man. How are you?
Good, very good.
How's it?
You've worked with so many great people. Working with William Friedkin on a movie is pretty incredible, right?
I love Billy. When I first saw The Exorcist in theaters, because they're always reissuing it, it's the classic that it is, and I remember watching the film and thinking that I literally, was watching something that was, possessed by the devil. There's stories where people are running out of the theater screaming, and it was such a powerful film, and the opportunity to get to work with him. And he's made so many classic films over the years, and he's just, not only is he a great director, but he's just a hilarious, wonderfully, loquacious person,
Well, you'd need a great director to help you find a way into this guy that you have to be in this movie,
Yeah, he's a very, Chris Smith, I don't think I've ever played a character that was probably as amoral in a certain sense. He
Just really terrible things.
I mean, his mother steals the drugs that, because he's a drug dealer, so he sells out his sister in order to get money from a hitman in order to put a hit out on his mother.
Doesn't sell her out, and he sells her, right?
Yeah, he makes a deal. Yeah, it's very dark, but at the same time, it sounds really dark, but there's also, this dark humor to it.
Yeah. To get inside the head of somebody, did you have a full understanding in your own world of what good and evil was and what it's like to live in a gray area?
I think that everybody's got, their light sides and their dark sides and their good days and their bad days. So, it's kind of examining the text and the material and then looking into yourself and then, seeing if there's other examples, in your life that, could help inform the character. I'd done a little bit of work just learning about the play Hamlet. I'd wanted to try to make a theatrical, version of it. And studying that part, there's so much of that moral ambiguity and the kind of, he's so conflicted about whether or not to kill all these people and who does he love and who does he not love. And I think that really helped me when it came to playing the role.
When you went inside, you talk about the dark, looking at your lighter dark sides and you draw from within. Where did you find some of that?
I think that, a lot of the guys I grew up with, I lived in Topanga, California, which is kind of a rural community, and there was times where I remember, living literally in a trailer with a couple of my friends and their parents, and we would be there for days on end, and once you are kind of in that environment for long enough, the trailer becomes its own world,
And you see the humanity in it, because a lot of people just see it from the outside.
Yeah. So sometimes I think that, it's easy to write it off as, oh, it's just that's the world, and it's a very kind of stereotypical world. But there is a lot of nuance to it, and there is the highs and lows, and the good feelings and the bad feelings in that life.
Tell me about your trip to the Democratic Republic of Congo. What was that like?
Well, I had worked with on Into the Wild, and the character I portrayed in the film, Chris McCandless, had donated his life savings before he went on this kind of exodus that he did to Oxfam America, the Oxford Famine Relief. It's a humanitarian aid organization. And they had asked me when the film came out if I'd be interested in going on one of their kind of outreach programs that they do with, actors and certain celebrities, and, where they take, you on a trip to a part of the world. In this case, it was the Democratic Republic of Congo, and they show you the programs that they have, with the water, clean water and wells, and food distribution, and support for rape victims and some of the rape clinics that they have out there. And then you come back and hopefully, you can spread the word about what they do, and they really do a lot of really good stuff. And it's not just Oxfam. Oxfam's one of a lot of really great organizations.
So, but think about all the things you said there, the words that you used, and you experienced, you talked to people who have suffered on a kind of universal, profound level.
Yeah.
That trip, what did you see in them? What did that do to you?
First off, it made me completely grateful for the life that I have.
Had you not been as grateful before?
I think that it's really easy for anybody to forget the freedoms they have, the luxuries they have, everything you have that you take for granted. You take tap water for granted. I was staying in, one of the nicest hotels in the Congo, and it barely had running water when I was there, and then we went to another part, and I talked to a guy who was missing a leg because he got it, he got it shot off in a battle with a tribe over, just some crazy different, no real differences in a certain sense. And, I talked to certain people who who were really rape victims, and it was a really, you want to just appreciate everything you have and realize that a lot of people have it a lot worse off. And that was what I really, But you can see that anywhere, though. You can see that on the corner. There's homeless people everywhere.
What's interesting about how are you comfortable with the ambassador title?
No, not at all. Ambassador, that sounds like someone who should, have a Harvard degree and, if anything, I'm a guy who talks about it because he was there, Right. That would be a good title. The guy who talks about it because he went there. That sounds like an ambassador. I mean, that's embarrassing.
A lot of actors who do this figure out what their comfort level, and a lot of guys just don't do it at all. Do you feel some sense of responsibility to be a part of the community that shares these stories?
I don't know. I don't know if I feel a sense of responsibility. There's definitely a part of me that wants to engage in that way, and do what I can. Sean Penn has a relief organization that he started called JPHRO in Haiti. And I went, he asked me to go to Haiti last year in May, and I went to Haiti for 12 days and stayed at a camp that he's working with. And, there's 55,000 people that are in this camp that JPHRO is one of the leading kind of managerial, NGOs there. And, they just kind of gave me some gloves and said, unload this water, and it was a really...
Is Sean somebody you look up to? It's hard, as you're a young man, it's hard to find mentors in a business that you can relate to in a sense, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I absolutely have, I've always looked up to Sean, and working with him has been a big milestone for me, just as knowing someone, and also as getting an opportunity to do the work that we did together on Into the Wild and in Milk.
Stick around. More with Emile Hirsch. We'll do some anthropology. Yeah.
As you can probably tell, we have a live studio audience. I'd love it if you would join us. Go to strombo.com/tickets for more.
So I got my wisdom teeth out. And it all went super good before the plane. And Dr. Rosenblatt, he sedated me and IV'd me. And before I knew it, I had a big smile on my face. I want to be just like Take Me to the Unicorn Girl. No, I don't. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Man, you look banged up. Your dad shot that?
Yeah. Well, I just got my wisdom teeth out about 2 weeks ago. And if you go on YouTube, which I did a lot before I got my wisdom teeth out because I was, you know, I was nervous about the whole procedure and I'd never been put under anesthesia.
Yeah.
And there's a whole genre on YouTube of these videos of people videoing themselves coming out of the anesthesia. And there was this one called, you know, Take Me to the Unicorn Girl. And it's got like 7 million hits, and the other video, David Goes to the Dentist, has got like 100 million hits.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll make my own funny wisdom tooth video. And
Success.
and that was what it was. And that wasn't the whole thing, though. It gets goofier.
Nice. That's one thing you can find on YouTube about him. We're going to anthropology here. You spent 3 months in skateboard boot camp, right, for Lords of Dogtown.
Yeah.
What's the best tip that you can pass along?
The best tip is to try not to fall. Because when you fall, skateboarding, it's not like snowboarding or surfing, you know. It's concrete on the ground. It's not... I made that mistake. I thought maybe it was like snowboarding. So I, you know, I'll just take a little face plant, and then it turned out it wasn't like snow at all. It was a lot more like asphalt.
That's what a California boy doesn't figure out till
We're
those
a
two.
little slower, you know? The Canadians are a little sharper, I think.
What's the one animal that you'd like to see become extinct?
Become extinct?
Yeah.
Well, the mosquitoes definitely causes a lot of problems.
It does. Into the wild or into the mystic?
Into the wild.
What rule or law do you break the most? Answer honestly, because the American cops can't come get you here.
What rule or law do I break the most? Sometimes I speed a little bit when I drive.
Are you a crazy driver?
No.
I don't
But
believe it.
I have to give myself a little bit of credit because I did play a character named Speed Racer.
Yeah.
Although the sad truth is that for the most part, I drive like the slowest person I mean, I'm the safest driver.
Is that true in your life, though? Do you live life safely?
I think in a certain way, especially with the car. You know, occasionally I like to do, you know, the more extreme sports and things like that. But I not too safely though. I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro a couple years ago.
Why?
My friend Kenna, he's a musician, and he put together this climb that was, he's Ethiopian, and his father is Ethiopian, and he's from there, and they wanted to put together a charity to help for clean water. So we all climbed Kilimanjaro, a bunch of, you know, actors and musicians, Lupe Fiasco and Jessica Biel, and we all got together, and, you know, we set up the hill.
You seem to be really interested in that part of your life, like the part that goes out there and works on behalf of others.
Well, it's a lot more adventurous than sitting around an apartment in L.A.
True.
I mean, you're, you know, staring at a blank white wall. That's no fun.
Were those values, though, instilled in you as a kid?
I think that they're values that I have grown into having. I don't necessarily know that they're values that were instilled in me, but as I got older, I got into it more and more with the work I've done, and I just I like a good adventure.
Nice, it's good to see you, man.
Hey, thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in. The film is called Killer Joe. He's in it, Emile Hirsch. We'll be right back.